This video is for Virtual Riot, but everybody's welcome to tag along. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. Hopefully it's going to be short. Here we go. Hi, my name is Brian. I'm a composer and producer. I just watched the latest video from Virtual Riot where he creates random melodies in Ableton, and it's really cool. I love that kind of stuff. But I did notice something that he mentioned in the video.
You go to macro 3. If someone wants to make some sort of device or program that can speed up this process, please feel free to let me know.
And when I heard that, I felt like the Hulk in Avengers Endgame because, much like him, it's like
I was made for this.
See, even though I'm primarily a Cubase user, I do use Ableton quite a bit. And the way that I like to use both of those DAWs is with the help of an app called Keyboard Maestro. If you're not familiar, Keyboard Maestro is an automation app for Mac that lets you create unique automations based on variables, so you can basically custom tailor what you want to do, and it's great for exactly these kind of tedious processes that you're trying to do. So when I saw what he was trying to do, I knew that I can do this in Ableton, and up until now I didn't really make complex automations using Keyboard Maestro for Ableton, so this was like a really fun challenge. It's not going to work for every situation, but it's a start, and then once you learn a little bit more, you can do unbelievable things. So let's dive into Ableton and see what I did, and hopefully we can help our Ableton friends work a little bit faster too. Okay, so in the video, this is pretty much what we had. We had a pitch thing and then a velocity that we essentially needed to duplicate to all of the chains, right? So we needed to duplicate this, and then we need to go to the chain and then right click on the same knob and then map it to macro number 2. This is very tedious and it's a lot of dragging and clicking. This is very inefficient. So essentially, Keyboard Maestro is going to do for us, is going to copy this and then it's going to go down and then right and then paste. So it's the last in the chain, and then it's going to click on the relevant position and then it's going to go down to macro number 2 and so on and so forth. So let me show you exactly what the macro is doing. If I hit Command L, but you can trigger this from any Stream Deck or any other key combination or from the menu item. If I hit Command L, which is the temporary key shortcut that I created to launch this macro, it's going to tell us place the mouse at the knob position and then hit return, which is basically where we want to click in order to map the macro. So this is the knob that we want to assign to the macro. So we're going to hit OK. And then select the module that you want to duplicate, which in our case is the velocity, and then hit OK. So we're going to hit OK. And then how many duplicates? Well, we have 1 and we want, let's say 8. So we're going to do 7 more duplicates, right? And then what is the first macro? So this is mapped to macro number 1. Let's say that we're starting from the middle. We want it to start from maybe macro number 6. So the first macro would be 5, right? In our case, this is macro number 1. So the first macro is number 1. And then it's just going to do this for us. Macro number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. They're all mapped. They're all what they needed to be, right? So this is macro number 2. This is macro number 3. This is macro number 4. How faster is this to do? This is a very simple action to build in Keyboard Maestro. Once you know what you're doing, it took me about 10 minutes to create this. And let me show you the ins and outs because it's kind of cool, and then you'll get an idea. And then, you can build more stuff that suits your exact situation, because everything is going to be a little bit different and you're going to try to do different things. But still, this is how effective Keyboard Maestro is with helping with tedious tasks in your DAW, especially when you're doing complex stuff like Virtual Riot is doing. So this is Keyboard Maestro. And then what is happening essentially is it's going to get the knob position. So it's going to prompt for a message. And then once I hit OK, it's going to get the mouse X position and the mouse Y position. So it'll know where to right click to assign the macro. So this is the first thing that it's getting that it needs to know. The second thing that it's doing is copying the module that we want to duplicate. So this is why it's important for us to select the module that we want to duplicate, and then it's going to just hit Command C for us. So once I hit OK, it's back to Ableton and it's hitting Command C. So it basically copied this. And then the last thing is it needs to know how many duplicates we want to create, so it can know how many times to repeat this action. And then what's the first macro number, so it can know how many times to hit the down arrow in order to map it to the correct macro. So now that we have all of our variables, the last thing that we need to do is basically put them to work based on everything that Keyboard Maestro now knows. So it's going to repeat these actions, how many duplicates, which we got from how many duplicates we want to create. So it's a prompt. We put in 5. It's going to know that this is 5. So it's going to change each time so we can have multiple duplicates for this. So this is great. And then after it did that, the first thing that it's doing is hitting the down arrow. So it is kind of important for us to be in the first one that we want to duplicate, because the first thing that it's going to do is hit down. So it's going to go to the next chain. And then it's going to pause for a predetermined parameter, which is 0.1 seconds. And then it's going to hit the right arrow. Why is it hitting the right arrow? So we're going to be in the last position. So we're going to copy this after the pitch. Instead of, if we were just going to go down and then paste, it was going to do it before. So this is why it's doing down and then right for it to be in the last position. So down and then right, and then it's going to hit Command V for pasting. So it's essentially doing this, this, and this. And then we're going to pause again, and then we're going to right click at the mouse position X and Y that we captured before. So it's going to right click right here because we already told it to. And then after it does, it's going to add 1 to the first macro that we put before. So set the variable first macro number to first macro number plus 1, because if we put in that the first macro was 1, we want it to go to macro number 2, right? So it's going to do 1 plus 1. And then the next time it's going to do 2 plus 1. So it's going to go to 3. So it's essentially adding 1 every time that it's repeating this macro. And then it's going to right click and then insert text by typing edit macro. Why? Because if we're going to right click and then type edit macro, it's going to put the selection right here, and then it's going to hit down, down, right? So we put macro, first macro is 1, and then we added another one, so it's going to hit down twice. And then the next time it's going to hit down thrice, and then 4 times, and then 5. So essentially it's perfect that way. And then it's going to hit enter just to select our selection, and then it's going to repeat it as many times as we told it to. So let's do another example just to change things up and see that this actually works in different scenarios, but it's not going to work in every scenario, but just like in our specific situation. So let's do not this knob, but this knob, and let's start on macro number 3. And we want to duplicate this 10 times. So I'm going to hit my keyboard shortcut in order to execute the macro. And then what is the mouse position? It's going to be here because this is the knob that we want to duplicate. And then this is the module that we want to copy. So enter, and then how many duplicates? We want to do 10. And then the first macro is number 3. And then essentially, yeah, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7, this is 8, this is 9, this is 10, 11, should probably go to 14, right? Because if we're adding 10. Oh, yeah, done. And then if we watch all of our macros, this is the last one. Yep. It's that easy. This is why I love Keyboard Maestro, especially for these kind of things. I think it's really handy. And working with DAWs and working with big templates and big projects and big kind of ideas that you want to create, there are these these mundane tasks that are just very repetitive that you have to do, and they have some variables to them, and Keyboard Maestro can account for those if you can kind of test it and see what's going on. And I think, you know, spending 10 minutes in order to build something that will work for all future things is really, really worth it. And I am really glad that I was able to do this in Ableton. This is kind of a first for me, and this was really, really fun. So yeah, if you're using Ableton, here's another example of what you can do with Ableton to make your life a little bit easier, especially if you're virtual Riot. Anyways, yeah, this is pretty much all I have this time. I just saw the video and I knew that I have to make this and that I can make this, and I'm really glad that I was able to do it. So I hope this helps someone. If it's just one person, great. If it's nobody, Kind of sucks, but I think this is I think this is really cool, and I hope that you found value and this maybe sparked an idea of what you can do using Keyboard Maestro. I actually started using it. If you watch my videos, I actually use Keyboard Maestro to create creative stuff in Cubase sometimes, like creative decisions and random stuff. I love my random plugin generator that selects a random plugin and inserts it for me. All these kind of things are really, really cool, and I really enjoy them. So if you are interested in workflow and macros and Keyboard Maestro, follow along, subscribe, like the video, do whatever you want. Yeah, that's all I have for you. Stay creative, stay awesome. I'll see you in the next one.